And there's going to be very little separation this time again, Tim. Can we get another? Can we get another one after this? I'm down for
I don't want to say it anymore.
Let's get another fight. Top Rank Boxing on ESPN Plus is.
All right, let's talk about it. I think that Josh Taylor needs to work on some head movement. That's his Achilles heel. He got buckled twice in the fight. Actually, slightly buckled from a left hand to the body earlier in the fight. Nearly dropped in round number 11 by a significant left hand. And basically, it's really two different fights. You know, well, let me explain it this way. Josh Taylor had the body work. This one almost dropped him. Josh Taylor had the body work, but it didn't come until late. It was a tale of two halves. The first half was a clear Jack Catterall half. The jab was giving Josh Taylor some issues. As you can see, his eye is going to be puffy from it. The left hand started landing more consistently later on in the fight from Jack Catterall. Something happened with Josh Taylor with the second half of the fight. He woke up and started aggressively pressuring Jack Catterall to the body. But I don't think that Josh Taylor did enough to win. I'm giving it to Jack Catterall, especially with the last two rounds on my card going to Jack Catterall. And Josh Taylor had a lot of momentum going into round number 11, but then he got rocked. In fact, I'm going to show you a clip of that while they're tallying the cards. And I expect it to be some wide cards. Don't be surprised. They're going to be a little bit crazy. Let me see if they're reading the cards yet. It's going to be a little bit crazy. Here, let me get you a little clip here that I clipped out. Where's it at? Oh, here we are. We're going to a decision. So I give it to Jack Catterall. 8 rounds to 4, 7 rounds to 4 generously, 7 rounds to 5, but 8 rounds to 4 for me, for Jack Catterall. The better boxer. Josh Taylor's got to work on his head movement. By the way, his conditioning looked good. It didn't look like he had any issues at the weight. Here we are. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. Expect to be pissed.
Kieran McCann and Mark Bates both scored them out 117-111. Lee Every 116-113. All three for your winner by unanimous decision.
There it is. 117-111. That means that 9 rounds went to Jack Catterall on 2 scorecards. So they really did appreciate his effective work. Maybe
he was boxing well. He was boxing well, man. He started off boxing well, control the distance.
See, here's the thing. Coming into this fight week, I felt that Josh Taylor stayed at the weight too long. Is that because of the politics that was going on with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford at that point in time? He's been long targeting 147. But in this case, he looked good at the weigh-in. He looked good in the ring. I'm talking about some conditioning-wise. He didn't look sluggish. This was a gap in skill. Jack Catterall's the better overall fighter. Like the more technically sound fighter. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this. No disrespect to both of these fighters, obviously, and only this is my opinion only. But I don't see both of these guys as being elite. They're up there in the top tier of fighters, but not among the elite. But it all depends on if you consider Teofimo Lopez elite. The name is elite. Devin Haney, the name is elite, but people won't look at him as elite anymore. How he got whipped, juice or no juice, by Ryan Garcia. Subriel Matias. He's the boogeyman. Fighting Liam Parrow, by the way. I think Liam Parrow got a chance. Maybe I'm crazy. They're waiting to hear the post-fight interviews. Let's listen in. Take your time out. Like the video. Subscribe.
congratulations. You said tonight you would rewrite the script, a script that you felt should have had a fairy tale ending for yourself over 2 years ago. Tell this incredible arena and tell the world what this victory over Josh Taylor and the emotions of this win mean to you right now.
You know what, it's bittersweet tonight. No world titles, I won the fight. We can close that chapter with Josh Taylor.
Both of you said that it would be a better fight than the first one. It certainly was. What do you believe won you the fight through 36 minutes tonight, Jack?
Listen, I believe I won the fight. I took more risks this time. Josh is an elite operator, undisputed world champion. We knew we was up against it, but I felt like I went through the gears, I boxed smart, and even in the second half of the fight, the rounds that I was more reserved, I was controlling the place and I wasn't getting hit with big punches and I was landing clean.
You say reserved there. Did you feel the pace at the halfway stage? Your body language seemed to change slightly and Taylor came back into the fight. The verdict from commentary was that it was a fight of two halves.
Yeah, it was a fight of two halves, but I still believe the second half of the fight, the rounds that I won clearly. I wasn't taking punishment. I had a few little niggles in there, but I overcome that tonight.
When the scorecards were being read out, it would only be natural for you to have some nostalgia back to that night in Glasgow. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, I turned around to Ed and I felt that feeling last time. This time it went a lot quicker, it was more conclusive. There was a long wait last time, but I knew I'd done it.
Josh said heading into the fight tonight that he felt as good as he'd ever felt and there were no excuses. So what does that say about where Jack Catterall belongs on the world stage right now?
Yeah, big fights, and you know, we're out respect to Josh. He had his extra weeks and we wanted Josh at his best, and that's what we got.
Well, I do have to ask you.
You know what, and I said to Josh after the fight, there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of strong words said over the last 2 years. None of it's personal, and we've shared 24 rounds together, so respect to Josh as well.
Would you do it again?
I don't want to see it no more.
Well, let's bring in promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, firstly, what an incredible atmosphere. British boxing certainly needed that. That was unbelievable, and massive respect to both of these warriors. Your verdict from ringside.
Yeah, well, listen, the Scottish fans won't be happy. I thought the judge scorecards were too wide, but the winner was bang on. Jack Catterall won that fight. He closed the show beautifully. He dominated the first 6 rounds. And I'm sorry, boys. Listen, I'll tell you what, I love Scotland, but justice was served tonight. That's for sure. 2 years ago, this man should have been the undisputed world champion. And it doesn't matter because tonight he wins, but he should have the belts round his waist. That was a brilliant fight. You know, you heard Joe McInally say earlier in the week, the first fight was a bit of a stinker. It was. That was a tremendous battle. Josh came back in the back half of the fight. Jack closed well. He boxed beautifully at times, made him miss all the time. Tremendous, two tremendous fighters. And I know that, you know, the loss of the Undisputed Championship, you can never take away that pain. But I'm so pleased this man got victory tonight. He deserves it. Thanks to everyone from Chorley as well. You should get behind this man. Listen, the third fight is a big fight, but he deserves to be world champion. That's got to be the focus. You know, we're deep at 140. Subriel Matias fights Liam Pyro coming up. We've got Devin Haney against Sandor Martin. I'd love to see this guy challenge and rightfully win a world championship.
Jack, before we hopefully bring in Josh Taylor, you were very well positioned across all 4 governing bodies at 140 pounds. What's important to you now?
Hey,
you want to give
I have a theory.
I've sort of fight like everybody else. Those scorecards were a disgrace. Were an absolute disgrace.
Oh my gosh.
And I really feel sorry for Josh. I thought he won the fight, but those scorecards were ridiculous.
Nah, Bob.
And that's the lesson. I will never, ever allow an American fighter to come here with this British board scoring the fight. Those scores were ridiculous.
Well, let's try and bring in Josh Taylor. Josh, can you come forward, Josh? I'll come to you. Bob Arum's made his opinions very clear there. Your immediate verdict, you were the man in the ring here tonight. Did you feel you'd done enough?
Listen, I thought it was a great fight. Fair play to Jack. He boxed a better fight tonight. It was a better fight than the first fight. It was great. But listen, I thought I just nicked the fight, to be fair.
I gotta watch the tape.
It was a close fight, but given the controversy in the first fight, I think that's probably played into the judge's hands. But I think I just nicked the fight there, to be honest. But listen, fair play to Jack. He won the fight, and listen, let's do a third one. Why not? That was a
Nah,
good fight.
cuz.
I was just asking Jack, because Eddie would said, look, he deserves his shot at a world title now. He was very well positioned before this fight, but do you think that's the biggest fight now for both of you to run this back, and do you think that's the fair thing to do?
Well, listen, if he wants to go on and challenge for bigger fights, he deserves it. He won the fight, but I think that's one apiece. So let's do that. Let's do a trilogy.
It would be nice to, I think Jack Catterall might have left the ring, but
Oh
Jack was
gosh.
saying it there, after 24 rounds, all the back and forth. Is there respect there now between the pair of you?
Is that what you say?
Is there respect there now between the pair of you after sharing 24 rounds together?
Yeah, there always was. It's the respect to the fighters. That's our winning nature and our competitive nature and the will to win. There's always respect. Even with people you dislike, there's always respect.
Whether it is a trilogy, whatever it might be, we look forward to whatever might be next. Just a final one with Eddie. Eddie, Bob's made his opinion very clear. What do you think of the
I wanna
verdict?
hear
It's a
this
game
shit.
of opinions, this boxing game.
Bob's seen a lot of fights. I agree with him. I think the cards were much too wide. But I have absolutely no doubts Jack Catterall won that fight. Justice was served tonight. Get up, the Chorley! Get up!
Well, the first one, perhaps marred with controversy.
All right, listen. They're doing a post-fight show over on ESPN. Listen. Josh Taylor didn't win that fight. And as you can see, he confused. He's saying he won the fight, but then saying Catterall won the fight. 7-5 to me generously. You know? Some people can say 8-4. Listen, I'm more like on the 8-4 if I'm being honest. He gave him he lost round 12, even though he was winning the round, but those two big shots buckled him, damn near put him down. Round number 12, he came out cautiously because he was still buzzed from round number 11. But from 7 on, he was on a roll. And he had lost the first half of the fight. First 6 rounds, 5-1. And that's barely. You know, he couldn't get past the jab. He couldn't get into a rhythm. But then the second half of the fight, he came out on a mission with the body work until his ass got cracked in round number 11. As far as Bob Arum's concerned, listen, y'all know how old people can be sometimes. No disrespect. You know how elderly people can be sometimes. They just be saying all kind of craziness. This is how it is. You know, my grandpa, rest his soul, you know, he ain't like when I used to open up 2 boxes of cereal. You know, what if I didn't want to eat Raisin Bran? What if I wanted some Honey Nut Cheerios? And he'd be like, you know what? You open up the boxes of cereal. You know, and just start talking just craziness. So, no, I do not agree with Bob. I think Jack Catterall edged it, especially the last 2 rounds. But do I consider both of these guys elite? Well, you know what? Let's go talk about this. Let's go talk about the top guys in the division. Right now, there's a big-ass question mark around Devin Haney. We got to see how he looks against Sandor Martin when he comes back. Ryan Garcia, he's a generosity. Don't get me started on him. You got Isaac Cruz, who's taking on Rayo, and Sabril Matias, who's going to be taking on Liam Parra on June the 15th. And you got Teofimo Lopez taking on fucking Steve Claggett. Who is that? I do not know. Canadian. So, I think that after Matias and Parra, as you can see, Richardson Hitchens is the mandatory, the IBF mandatory. I think, can we see Catterall versus maybe Regis Prograis, Jermaine Ortiz? But those are top-ranked fighters. You know, will Eddie Hearn, will they be able to work together again? But Regis Prograis out there. You know? And I'm talking about what can politically happen. Not, you know, like fights like with Gary Antoine Russell. I don't see it happening. He's PBC. But do I think that Catterall could beat Teofimo Lopez? But then again, you don't know what Teofimo Lopez is going to show up. He's got some head case things going on too. You know, one night he looking special, the other night he's questioning, and does he still have it? Subriel Matias is not invincible. Richardson Hitchens was given hell by Gustavo Lemos. Devin Haney got put on his ass by juiced up, and I think he juiced. I'm telling you right now. I don't think it was no contaminated Osterine. The cheat Ryan Garcia, I think Devin Haney, would have affected. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Isaac Cruz Rayo. Isaac Cruz, I think, would beat Jack Catterall. We don't know about Jack Catterall's got a question mark. See, it all depends because Josh Taylor right now, he don't got no head movement. It's hard to really consider him now these days. I just don't know about him. I thought that, maybe 147 would help him, but it's defensively with him. It's not physical. It's defensively. He's defensively flawed. He can be hit. And if he can't be the pressure fighter, he's pretty much one-dimensional. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was on, and he's inactive and injury prone. Don't get me wrong. He was on a hell of a roll beating people down. Like from O'Hara Davies, this was a roll right here. Like he was handing out ass whoopings. But then as he started really stepping up in competition, he's been struggling. Because he can be hit. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I'm TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360.